Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome. Um, just a sound check, please. If you can hear me, if you can just type yes in the chat, that'll be really nice so that we know we're audible. Yes, great. All right, so it's a minute after 3, and firstly, I want to welcome you. I know it's the afternoon, so good afternoon. It's also a challenging time as far as keeping the eyelids open, but of course, we've got the very best in the house to talk you through the next 35-40 minutes. But before that, today is a bit of a special day because we have kind of come full circle from what was initially intended to be a series or a session or sessions that built a lot of camaraderie and sharing of resources and upskilling, that today we can actually take the first concrete step in that direction. And we're happy to announce that today, this particular webinar and the one to follow at 4 o'clock are orientations on specifically GESE grade 6, and the one to follow is ISE level 1. And this is for those who, among us teachers, who wish to add a professional development feather in their cap, so to speak, and to be able to do a qualification in this exam, maybe as a precursor to them teaching on their own, or just perhaps for fulfillment and satisfaction. So my one request to you teachers today is please make notes as the session goes through. There will be some download resources which will be shared with you. And most importantly, today, after this session, you will receive a link for this form, okay, as well as a link to a form in tomorrow's mail as a follow-through, wherein you must confirm that you do want to do the exam, in fact. All right. So on that note, it's my pleasure to welcome Joyce, who is going to take you through. Good afternoon, Joyce.
Good afternoon, Dale.
Lovely to see you. Test of true presentation skills and holding your audience. 3 o'clock in the afternoon is very often referred to the dead man shift. And there could be no one better than for you to keep this entertainment lively and engaged. So on that note, Joyce, please, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Dale. Well, in the words of Albert Einstein, it's the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. Welcome, dear teachers, on this journey together as we journey on over a period of time for 12 sessions. And truly, it's going to be a joyful experience where you develop your creativity in expression. Here we have the specifications for the grades. It's available on the website, so you can have a look at it. Now, what exactly is this GESE? Graded Exams in Spoken English. The test is interactive between you and the examiner. They look for spontaneity of candidates. You don't have to memorize anything and spit it over. No, it's very spontaneous. The GESE exams are conducted face-to-face by trained examiners. You'll be alone in the room with your examiner. Nobody else to hear what you're saying. And you're never going to meet that examiner again. So it's one-on-one, face-to-face. And the assessment is unscripted. That's the most exciting part of it, because you don't have to learn anything by heart. You don't have to be stressed out there. Oh, I wonder what he's going to say. Will he ask me this question or that question? It's purely unscripted. And what are they testing? They're testing your ability in the 21st century skills. How creative are you? They want your creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. This is something we all need in everyday life. So now, what is so exciting about this? What are the pedagogic benefits of this exam? It's truly motivating. Now, you've got to accept me for what I say. But I tell you, I assure you, once you are with me for the training, you will say, yes, truly it is motivating. It allows individual development. That's why I said it allows spontaneity as well as individual development. It builds confidence. After all, if you have developed your 21st century skills, then you can take on the world with the confidence you have. And it's all about the real world, real communication. And so once again, I'll say it's real communication. It's one-to-one, and it definitely has a positive impact in the classroom. Now, what are we testing? I'll repeat, just 2 language skills, speaking and listening. That's it. And we have a series of tests from grades from 1 to 12. And the complexity increases with each grade. We've chosen that you should do a grade 6 because it is a B1 level on an international percentile scale on the CEFR level. So students doing their MBA or their PhDs, they like to do the higher grades. You can also do it, but we thought the base would be a grade 6. From there, you can launch on to do other grades as well. So grades 10, 11, and 12 is for proficient speakers of English. And I want you to aim for that ultimately. So we have, for the initial stage, very simple and personal facts. Then we have person's immediate world, and then abstract topics. So you see, once again, we start with very simple personal facts and objects, individual immediate world, and then expanding world and abstract ideas. You will understand this better once we do the training. And here is the assessment summary. In this, they're showing you also how many minutes each exam is. The initial stage is 5 to 7, elementary is 10 minutes, then we have 15 minutes, and the advanced is for 25 minutes. And they've also given you the CEFR level for each grade. Now let's come to our exam, grade 6. It has 2 parts, 2 phases. One is the topic presentation and one is the conversation. 5 minutes for topic and 5 minutes for conversation. Now, what can I do in English at this level? So when you finish this exam, we know that, okay, you are proficient in this. You can understand the main points of clear standard input on familiar matters, regularly encountered in work, school, and leisure. Can deal with most situations likely to arise whilst traveling. Can produce simple connected text on topics which are familiar or of personal interest. And most importantly, can describe experiences and events, dreams, hopes, and ambitions, and briefly give reasons and explanations for opinions and plans. This is something we come across in daily life, this last one particularly. So here, this is a repetition. The first part is the discussion of the topic phase, of the topic that you've chosen. Second is a conversation phase where the examiner chooses any 2 topics from the subject areas given, and you have to they have to strike a conversation with you, and this goes on for 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes for each topic. Now, this is important, this candidate performance. In addition to the items listed for the previous grades, the candidate is expected to demonstrate the following communicative skills. Now, why are we saying that about the previous grades? Now, remember, you have not done all the grades. And I told you there's a progression, a very, very well-planned progression. You're going directly to grade 6. You're not aware of what's happened prior to this. Like, for example, in grade 2, we encourage them to use contractions. Then in grade 4, we encourage them to use the adverbs of manner and frequency apart from others. In grade 5, they're using the perfect tense. They're talking of preferences. And then grade 6 will be different ones. So if you're doing a grade 6 exam, you're expected to be well versed with the functions of the previous grades. So during the training, I will touch on those before we even launch onto the grade 6. We'll just touch on those so that you're aware of what is expected there, and then we launch onto the grade 6 requirements. Now, in the topic phase, now this is your trump card. You can prepare it in advance and go. But when I say prepare it in advance, I don't mean that you learn it by heart and you go and just rattle it out. It's not a speech. It's not a speech. You show understanding of the examiner by responding appropriately to questions, give information. Now, when I say appropriately to questions, you will get a topic form, which I'll show you later. And there are bullet points there. You can start your topic, but the examiner can ask you questions about the other bullet points by interrupting you in between. Then you've got to talk about the sequence of events, refer back to what has happened previously. So, the examiner will ask you anything. Take the opportunity provided to include samples of the language functions and language items listed in grade 6. So that's why I say this is your trump card, because in advance you can prepare it and go and make sure that while you're doing your delivery, you include all the language functions that are required for the grade. Now, in the conversation phase, it's not in your hands, but the topics are very, very general, like travel, fashion, money. Who doesn't like to speak about it? But there again, when speaking about it, provide information and offer opinions wherever appropriate. This is important. We don't just want you to give us information. We don't want general knowledge. We're not interested in the general knowledge part of it. We want you to offer your opinions wherever appropriate. Start to play a limited part in initiating and maintaining the conversation. Ask the examiner questions. So when the examiner is asking you a question, you can give them the answer and throw back another question. That is true communication. So again, we're talking about the topic form, topic phase. Before the exam, the candidate prepares a topic of his or her own choice. And in the exam, this is used as a basis for the discussion. So you start your topic discussion. The examiner will discuss with you. You also involve the examiner. Have you ever been to it? Do you think it's a good idea? Ask her opinion in between. This phase gives the candidate the opportunity to use the communicative skills, language functions, and the language items of the grade. So this is a very important phase, the most important phase of the exam, the topic phase, because it is something personal. You choose something of your interest and you are able to do full justice to it by using all the functions of the grade. And then the conversation phase. This is an opportunity for a realistic exchange of information, ideas, and opinions. There's so many topics there. The conversation phase is a meaningful and authentic exchange of information, ideas, and opinions rather than a formal question and answer interview. I repeat, it is nothing to do with general knowledge. We are not testing your general knowledge. We want you to exchange your ideas, give your opinions, and ask for opinions as well. From the elementary stage onwards, the examiner selects 2 subject areas for discussion as provided in the information of the particular grade. The subject areas have been carefully selected to offer a progression. Now, as I told you earlier, from the familiar to the less familiar, and from the concrete to the abstract. At each grade, the candidate is expected to take more responsibility for initiating and maintaining the conversation. At no point of time should there be a dead silence. No, we will even teach you a few fillers where you can, use a few fillers to break that silence, to give you time to think. From grade 2, the candidate is expected to ask questions. These questions should arise naturally out of the conversation. So the candidate, if the examiner is asking you about fashion, in return, you also ask her about a question about fashion. The assessment of the space takes into account the ability of the candidate to use the communicative skills, language functions, and language items of the grade. So you have to look at the specifications very clearly to be able to know what exactly is required at this level. So here are the specifications. I've been saying language functions all the time. Here are the language functions. What are they? As teachers, we're always doing this, expressing and requesting opinions and impressions, expressing intention and purpose, expressing obligation and necessity, expressing certainty and uncertainty, describing past actions over a period of time. Now, to assist you to fulfill these functions well, to use the language functionally, the grammar is given to you as a crutch. So we have the grammar here to assist you. So to help you to use those language functions, you have the zero and first conditionals, you have the present continuous tense of future use, past continuous tense, and also we must, need to, might, don't have to. All these words are very important for us to convey our message confidently and effectively. That's important. And of course, the infinitive of purpose. Then, of course, the lexis, the vocabulary is very important. Very often, we are so limited in our vocabulary. We tend to use the same words over and over again. So this is very important. We will teach you how to expand your vocabulary and use appropriate words at the appropriate time. Now, common phrasal verbs come very useful at this stage. Common phrasal verbs, which I'll handle with you when I'm doing the exam, when I'm doing the training. Phrases and expressions relating to the language functions listed above. Now, phonology is a very important aspect. Now, many people say phonology is pronunciation. Okay, yes, pronunciation to a great extent. Very often when you speak your mother tongue, there is an influence on your spoken English. So we have to take care of that. I mean, a little influence is permitted. But if you say the word in such a way that the whole meaning is changed, then we have to take care of that. So apart from pronunciation, we take care of the intonation and features of connected speech at sentence level. Intonation patterns of more complex question forms. And we also encourage them to use contractions. Right from grade 2 we started. Contractions are very important. They assist in the flow of the language. Now, here are the famous subject areas as I was talking about for conversation. They're so simple and so exciting. Who doesn't want to talk about travel, money, fashion? Oh, that's my pet topic. Rules and regulations. As teachers, we will have a lot to say. Health and fitness, learning a foreign language. Now, these are the topics that you will be talking to the examiner about. They cannot be mixed up with your topic presentation. Your topic presentation has to be any other topic except anything from here, from this list. So this list is exclusively for the conversation phase. For your topic presentation, you choose a topic that is not in this list, a topic that is very personal, something that you're just dying to talk about. And here is an examiner ready to listen to you. So that's great. And here's the topic form, as I spoke to you. Now, you will see there are 6 boxes there. The box in the middle will have the title of your topic, and there are 6 boxes there. This is to give you a chance to write your points for discussion. In other words, we call them bullet points. When you have to give a speech, you write your bullet points. So we write our points for discussion here. Now, how is it going to help you with the topic presentation? I'll show you how. I'll show you a worked out example. Suppose your topic is my future career. Okay? Now, the first point is what I want to do and why. So that will fulfill your expressing intention and purpose. Then, what I'll have to do to get my perfect job. This will express obligation and necessity. These are all language functions here. Some problems I might have, expressing certainty and uncertainty. Who I want to work for and why. This will be intention and purpose again. What my family and friends think about my plans. This will be expressing and requesting opinions and impressions. What I'll do when I get the job. Now, this will be present continuous tense for future use. This will talk about your future plans. So you notice that these points help you fulfill all the functions. If you don't have these points, You just talk at random and you might miss out some of the points. So these bullet points are very useful for you to be able to convey your message clearly and at the same time fulfill all the language functions. Now here's another example. I will not go into it because I've already explained that one. And when we're doing the training, we will go into it in detail. Now let's have a look at the report. If you're doing the initial stage, that's just one phase, the conversation phase. And the grading is A, B, C, D. But you are doing the elementary stage. So you have two phases. So you will be marked separately for the topic and separately for the conversation. Now down below there, you will see key areas for improvement. If you get a C grade, you will have no clue why you got the C grade. You might think, oh, I did so well and she gave me a C. Yes, the examiner will indicate to you why you got that C. So key areas for improvement, they will tick mark the boxes here, whether it was your vocabulary that was lacking, whether it was your grammar that was lacking, whether it was your pronunciation that was lacking. What is it that caused you to get that C grade? They will give you the markings down below here in the key areas for improvement. So it's a very, very clear-cut report. You know exactly where you stand. And of course, here there's a grade 10. And as I told you, as you go higher, the CFR level also goes higher. And in here, they tell you about the task fulfillment. There's an A. What does A stand for? This is your provisional score A in the best score. It's the best score. Now, we've not given it to you here, but I'll show you the rationale. How you get an A, when you get a B, when you get a C, when you get a D. I won't waste time on this because when we're doing the training, I want to explain it to you in detail. Now, Dale is going to show you a video of a grade 6 exam. And please pay careful attention to it because I've already told you what the requirements are, what the language functions are. Watch out for his topic. Watch out for the conversation phase. And then we'll get back to you again.
Hello, my name's Mark.
My name is Daniel, nice to meet you.
Hi Daniel, nice to meet you too. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Can I take your identity?
Here you go.
Thanks very much. Great. Now, we're going to start with your topic. What have you chosen to talk about?
I've chosen about to talk the history of mobile phones.
Ooh, okay. Well, tell me first about the pioneers of the mobile phones.
Well, the first pioneer was Dr. Martin Cooper of Motorola. He invented a mobile rig, completely portable, and it wasn't hand size, it weighed 40 kilograms.
Like this?
A brick phone, of course. It had a huge antenna, and it was made of wires. The electricity was wires.
And was it expensive?
Yes, it was the first mobile phone.
What about in the beginning one?
Well, in the beginning, two-way radios, known as mobile rigs, were installed in taxi cabs, police cruisers, and ambulances. They were not mobile phones because they were not normally connected to the national telephone network.
So why were they invented? Was it just to have fun?
No, it was another way of communicating.
Between who?
Between two people or more.
Okay. So it wasn't, they didn't invent it to help the police or the ambulances?
They didn't thought of that in the early years. The first mobile phone was a Motorola Dynatac. It actually looked like a rig, a mobile rig. I told you already, it was huge, it had an antenna. Then they resized some mobile phones to 9 kilograms. They were really heavy.
So that's now this big?
Yes, a brick phone actually.
It's still a brick. And did you have to carry it, did you have to use electricity to make it work? Or did it have a battery?
Well, the first rigs were with wires, but the Motorola Dynatac was completely portable. It used no wires, and you could carry it and call like this, like the phones now.
So you didn't have to...
Hello.
Hello, my name's Mark.
My name is Daniel, nice to meet you. Now mobile phones can take a picture, play a video, or run thousands of applications from their menus. Nowadays, mobile phones even have games, bigger entertainment for the kids.
And what about the second generation mobile phones?
Well, in the second generation, companies like IDEN invented mobile phones which could send an SMS. The first SMS was sent in the 1991 in the UK to a machine actually. And 2 years later, two men exchanged an SMS.
And do you think that second generation phones were a big step forward?
Yes, not step, a huge leap forward.
Why? What could you do with a second generation phone that you didn't have to do on a first generation?
First, in the second generation phone, there were screens now. There were big screens which allowed you to see what you're doing. Then the mobile phones were resized. They were actually hand-sized now, and they were really light.
So, third generation mobile phones, we have these today.
Yes, today. Companies in Japan, Tokyo, like NTT Docomo, invented the first touchscreen mobile phones. You know about that, don't you? And slider mobile phones with bigger protection.
What do you think might happen in the future with mobile phones?
Well, it's a bit crazy, but in the future, I think mobile phones will float in air. Really, and they will be all touch screens. There will be a big screen and will be a touch and it will float in there.
So we won't have to put them in our pockets?
Yes, in a pocket. Then when you want to get it out, you just throw it in the air and it starts floating.
Do you think this could happen in 10 years' time?
Yes.
Think it might?
Yes.
Do you think it might happen in 5 years' time?
No. It's a huge step for mankind.
Okay, all right.
It's a thing we're not ready for.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for talking to me about mobile phones. Now, let's talk about something different.
Okay.
Let's talk about learning a foreign language. Now, you've learnt English.
Yes.
What do you have to do to be a good English student?
Well, you have to learn everything you've been taught in class. You have to write your words in your notebook so you can remember them and then use them when you talk to somebody.
Do you have to talk to learn English?
Yes, of course. I think so.
Why?
Well, we from Bulgaria don't speak very much English here, but I know English since 5 years old. And I used to talk a lot English, and I watched a lot of cartoons. That's where I learned English.
And so, do you think you need to watch English in its original language?
Yes, of course. My teacher from my school told me that I should watch at least half an hour TV, English language, no subtitles.
Every day?
Every day. At least half an hour. Or play video games where they talk a lot of
And when you're watching English language TV, do you feel that you're studying?
Yes, actually it's studying. If you learn some new words, then you can put them in your topic, like now, of course, which I have done a few times. I have done many projects, and this is from watching TV and learning from my books.
So do you have to study grammar to be perfect?
I think grammar is important as well. The grammar is very important.
And let's imagine, in 10 years' time, do you think you will have the ability of a native speaker?
Yes, I think so. If I study a lot, if I don't stop studying, I'll be able to talk like you now.
Okay. Let's also talk about health and fitness. Now, is exercise very important to you?
Yes, I play basketball once or twice a week. Do you play any sports?
Yes, I go to the gym and I swim, but I don't play football and they don't dance?
Well, I expected for you to play football at least.
Yeah, no, I have a problem with my foot, so it hurts when I play football. What about you? Do you have any special sports that you really like?
Basketball. I liked football before, but I saw I'm not very good at it, so...
Okay. So for you, is it better to watch basketball or to play it?
To play it, of course.
Why?
Well, to play it because you can learn a lot of new stuff. Well, you can learn from watching as well, but I think when you play basketball, you realize that you're actually good at this.
Now, I've never played basketball. What do you have to do to be a good basketball player?
Pass a lot. You have to pass, you have to shoot right, you have to know a lot of stuff.
Do you have to be tall to be a good basketball player?
You see, I'm not tall, but yes. Yes, yeah, very tall. You have to be tall to play very well.
And one day you might be a professional basketball player?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm not that good at it. But I try.
But if you practice...
Yes, if I practice, I might be. But I have to practice a lot.
Okay. And so in 5 years' time, do you think you will play a different sport? Do you think you'll still play basketball, or do you think you'll stop all sport?
I don't know. I'm not very sure. Let's wait for the future to see.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. We're finished. Thank you very much. It was very nice to talk to you.
Me too.
And enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
I'm sure you enjoyed watching this little boy. What an confident child. And as I suppose you must have noticed all the phases. First, she spoke about this topic, and then there were 2 conversation phases. Did you see how natural it was? This is his result. He got an A grade. Now, what is it? Why did he get the A grade? What is the rationale for it? Daniel's topic choice enables him to exhibit a wide range of the language functions and language items of the grade accurately and appropriately. His contributions are clearly comprehensible and highly appropriate. Daniel understands the examiner with ease and responds naturally. For example, when he says, not a step, a huge leap forward. And you know about that, don't you? Daniel does omit to ask the examiner a question about his topic as required, but his performance is capable and engaging. It was totally engaging. He did involve the examiner, by saying, don't you, and things like that. For the conversation phase, he got an A grade. What was the rationale for that? The conversation on learning a foreign language and health and fitness proceeds smoothly, with Daniel contributing promptly and fluently. For example, he gives some appropriate suggestions on how to improve your English. Daniel accurately uses the examples of a wide range of the language items listed for this grade, as well as some from above the grade. Daniel asks an unprompted question about health and fitness, although he does forget to ask the examiner a question about learning a foreign language, as required. Despite this omission, however, this is a clear A performance. Now, this clearly shows you we are not waiting to see what you can't do. We are waiting to see and looking for what you can do. So you're not penalized so severely. You get an overall grade because on the whole, he was excellent. We go to the next.
All right, Joyce, thank you very much. On that note, teachers, this actually marks the end of what we wanted to present to you today. And if I may just do an entire sum up of what Joyce was talking about, was to take you through typically what would happen in the case of a GESE grade 6 exam. And the video that we played for you was an exact exam video. Now, what we are proposing to do, and starting from 30th of September, that's a Wednesday, is do 12 sessions with you um, to help you towards understanding all that it takes, not just in grade 6, but to do a recap of grades 1 right up to 6 to get you ready, so that if you'd be able to do an exam. Now, along the way, we're going to break it down into smaller groups so that we can actually do this with you, maybe in groups of 8 or 10 together, all right? And this way cover the entire base and do this over 3 months with a great amount of consistency that gets you ready for an exam sometime in January or February. Now, just so that you know, these are the centers where we're going to be offering exams. In the north, it's Delhi, Ludhiana, Jaipur, and Chandigarh. In the east, it's in Calcutta. And in the west and south, it's there as well. Now, what we are also saying is, because we understand that a prerequisite to being able to start this training is for teachers to register. And to do that, you need to pay your exam fee. And there is obviously a fear of what happens if there is exam cancellations because of a COVID-19 situation. So hence, we want to give you that assurance that we will give you the opportunity to appear for the exam later in 2021. God forbid that the exams are not able to be held in January or February. And of course, there will be no price change. Although every year in the month of April, for every scholastic year, there is a revision of the exam fee. So when you pay now for your exam fee, that will not apply to you even if your exam gets deferred. So you will definitely get your exam, all right? We're looking towards doing it in January. Now, there are maybe a few cities that are not listed here. This is based on the data that we've received from you of teachers who've showed an interest to say, I live in these cities. So these are the cities over here. If perhaps you don't see a city over here, you can just mail me. My email ID is there, and we can cover and see whether we can add another city or which is the closest city available to you. On that note, we, as part of the entire process, it's important for us to get an understanding of where you are and what you can do as yourself. So Joyce had designed a pre-grading task, okay? Let's call it homework. This is funny. Teachers are getting a little bit of homework, but that's nice. So Joyce, will you just explain to all of us, what do we need to do in this little homework assignment that you've given us?
Now you realize that this child, this boy, when he was speaking, he was using language functions all the time. And I want to know how confident you are about using language functions. So I've given you the functions here. This is a statement. You have to speak about it. The government has declared a sudden strike and you now have an unexpected holiday for a week. You are thrilled and planning for things to do during the week. Tell me about your plans and intentions. Tell me about your plan. Now, in the process, while telling me about your plans and intentions, I would like you to use these functions that are here. So now, I'm not too sure whether you will understand how to go about it. So that's the reason why I have done an example in the next slide. I've done one to show you as an example. But first of all, let me tell you, you saw the video where the examiner was there live. Let me tell you, we will not be having them live. It will be an online exam. So in case you're confused about that. Okay, so I've given myself a different prompt. A school bus breaks down on a busy street because the bus wasn't properly maintained. None of the little children were hurt, but they were made to wait for 3 hours on the roadside before they were picked up. Now, I need to give my opinion, impressions, whatever. So I started off like this. Now, I've marked it in red because there's where I have used the language functions, okay? This is absolutely atrocious. In the first place, why were they traveling in an ill-maintained bus? The authorities were duty-bound to realize that the students need to travel safely. Was there a female attendant accompanying them? Parents must certainly ensure that these children are in safe hands if they are going to travel regularly. Now, in this paragraph itself, you see how I've used the past continuous tense. I've used models of need and must and things like that. I've used certainty, uncertainty. In my opinion, children must be accompanied to school by their parents or guardians. There's a lot of uncertainty and insecurity when it involves little children. Why were they standing on the roadside? I'm aware that schools always maintain the details of every student, so it was necessary for the parents to be intimated. Surely, if the school cares enough, they will send a relief staff. But this didn't happen. Besides, I'm aware that these kind of incidents have taken place in the past, but no lessons were learned and they didn't feel the need to put new rules in place. This clearly indicates the carelessness of the school. In my opinion, the parent association must sue the school. If they do, it will serve as a deterrent for other schools. Having said this, if I get an opportunity to enlighten the minds of school authorities, I will certainly grab the opportunity. It's the need of the hour. You see, you can say it in one sentence, you can say it in two sentences, but you can say it in a paragraph. So this is the real essence of the exam. When you're asked a question, you are expected to answer and elaborate and give extensions as much as you can and use as many language functions as possible. So this is how I've done it. This is like an example for you. So when you're doing your task, keep in mind that you fill in all the possible language functions and grammar requirements and send it to me so that I know exactly whether you've understood or not. Yes. And let me tell you, we're going to go about this training. It's going to be a fun experience. First of all, I'll start the training with a joke. Then we'll have some good, solid training. I'm a tough teacher, I must tell you. We'll end with the assignment and a quote. So have fun. We're going to journey on together, and I'm really, really looking forward to this great experience to journey on with you.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. So teachers, just to recap, this is what your assignment is. If you could create a 2 or 3 minute voice recording of yourself responding to the prompt above, you can use the language functions and grammar which are mentioned below. So the prompt that you have is that the government has declared a sudden strike and you now have an unexpected holiday for a week. You are thrilled and planning for things to do during the week. Tell me about your plans and intentions. So you need to record yourself. You can write down a script if you want, if you think that will help you. Ideally, you can just talk into your phone and send us that recording. The details of where to send it and stuff like that have already been communicated to you in an email and will be done again today after our webinar again. So Joyce, can you explain that, please?
The statement is given. The situation is the government has declared a sudden strike. You now have an unexpected holiday for a week. You are thrilled. You're planning things to do. What do I want to know? Tell me about your plans and intentions. So you will speak to me for at least 2 or 3 minutes. Now, while speaking to me about your plans and intentions, make sure you talk about past events. How do you decide where you're going to do and where you're going to go and what you're going to do? Talk about past events. In between, you can also ask me, do you think it's a good idea that I've decided to go here? Ask for my opinion. Talk about the purpose, intention, why you chose to go to this place, why you chose to do this, what was the obligation involved, what was the necessity, what is the certainty and uncertainty of you fulfilling that plan. So in this way, you're fulfilling all the language functions. So that is how your communication becomes richer, more communicative. And while speaking those sentences, use the grammar to help you. But I'm focusing more on you explaining to me about your plans and intentions, but give me reasons why and talk about certainties and uncertainties and obligations as well. Is that clear?
Now, on that note, just to let you know, this is really important and I request you to please take a screenshot. This is the next steps that are required of you. All right. If you are going ahead to sign up for the training, what we call the professional development series, and which will lead you into a grade 6 exam. So by Sunday, 20th September, 6 p.m., you need to send your homework in. All right. Now, why are we asking you for this? Just to understand a little bit about you. All right. 2, as soon as this webinar is over, you are going to get a link to a form whereby you need to confirm that you want to participate in this professional development series. For the record, teachers, the training is completely free. All right. There's no charge for the training. This is our commitment towards ensuring that we have better, more skilled teachers who want to upgrade as well. Now, in case you missed the form today, in your mail to follow tomorrow, you will get another link for that form. All right, please fill in that form. Without the form, we cannot proceed. Now, between the 21st and the 25th, depending on whether you've opted for either GESE grade 6 or ISC level 1, you will be interacting with either Joyce or Shoma, all right, in batches, in smaller batches. In the form that is attached, the confirmation form, the slots have already been provided for you. So you need to just tell us which slot you want. 90% we will give you that slot. If we cannot, we will get in touch with you to ask, can we reschedule that slot to another day? But irrespective, it's being kept over 5 days from the 21st to the 25th between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. So it's safe for everybody, all right? Because presumably, and it would require maybe about 30 or 40 minutes in this group interaction for us to be able to help assess and know the dynamic of each group, okay? Now, on Monday, the 21st, you will receive a mail, okay, giving you details, okay, of which city you need, if you've chosen which city you want, and that list is also there in the confirmation form. Then based on that, we will give you the link to which bank account you can transfer funds electronically, okay? So you need to make all payments by the 26th of September. So we'll send you the mail on the 21st. By the 26th, you need to complete that process and mail in your proof of payment with the transaction reference number. This gives us 2 days to plan further. And then from the 30th of September, every Wednesday, 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock respectively, we will do training sessions. Some of them will be at slightly different times, but we're going to keep to that Wednesday so that we can ensure that everybody gets their 12 sessions. Now, you must understand that in certain cases, because we want to keep it a nice tight group, we have to, sometimes we will be doing multiple rounds of each training. So please spare a thought for Joyce and Shoma, who are going to be losing their voice every Wednesday and perhaps another day as well. But we are committed to doing this, and honestly feel proud that we can actually help do this. Now, in your resources today, what you will be getting is the exam booklet. So you need to flip over to page which talks about grade 6. You will get a sample topic form. There is a link to not just this one video that you watched, but a link to 3 more, along with the rationale of how the marking was done, so that you understand what it is to do an assessment like this.